I mean, why wouldn't he just kill, if he's half dead, why would he just kill the guy? He killed Snoke, no problem. He doesn't think that this is going to be the same thing. I mean, isn't he supreme leader now? Why does he need anyone? He should just kill Palpatine and be over with it. Hey guys, Final Death Star. Today I want to talk about an article that's giving some leaks and plot points to Episode 9 regarding the Emperor, but the bigger picture is how I think this goes to confirm that there really were significant differences in how JJ is approaching Episode 9 and the overall trilogy compared to how Rian Johnson approached Episode 8. And despite what some of Lucasfilm employees have said about the two working together on Episode 8 and JJ's involvement, I think it's clear from how the direction he's taking this movie that that's not the case, and they had a distinct different view on how it should have gone. The first article here, and this is saying the Rise of Skywalker leaks reveal why Kylo Ren does Palpatine's bidding. So let's get into this here. Kylo Ren's storyline from Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is starting to take shape. Ever since the first trailer dropped, fans have speculated that he'll be working with Emperor Palpatine in some capacity, but it wasn't until recently that leaks offered more insight into how the partnership would work. One leak suggested that Kylo will cross paths with Palpatine by accident while searching for the source of the Supreme Leader Snoke's powers. Now a brand new leak has offered major insight into exactly why Kylo's doing Palpatine's bidding. Making Star Wars, historically a reputable source for all things Star Wars, posted a video discussing the factors behind Kylo's involvement with the former Emperor and the final reason Palpatine wants to work with him. It's a pretty huge reveal, so let's dive right into the details. Per previous leaks, we already know Kylo will happen upon Palps at the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker. However, according to MSW, Making Star Wars, editor Jason Ward, when Kylo finds Palpatine, the big bad says he is not a clone, not yet a man. Now that could mean a whole lot of things, but the first thought it brings to mind is the leak about Palpatine being half man, half machine. I have not heard this leak before. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. So I don't know if he's on if he's in like a bantha tank or some kind of respirator system doing like a Vader crossover type thing. I'm not sure. That's the first time I've heard that. Which makes sense considering how long he's been, since it makes sense because he was thrown down the Death Star shaft, destroyed into a blue energy mist, but somehow he's brought back. So it would make sense that he needs some kind of robotic respirator. While that bit of information is fascinating, it's not the most exciting part of the leak. To explain this plan, Palps tells Kylo he's gotten old. I mean, he's got to be like 100 years old in this movie. And he wants to pass on his entire empire to his granddaughter, a.k.a. Rey, and that she and Kylo can rule over it as Emperor and Empress. That's right, the speculation that Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter might have some merit to it after all. But Kylo and Rey ruling the galaxy together? Sure, maybe when pigs learn to fly. I mean, didn't we already kind of deal with this in Episode 8? Wasn't Kylo already trying to get Rey to join him? And, she said no, and then they have that little Force lightsaber pooling match that destroys Anakin's lightsaber, which happens to be restored in this movie, I might add. While Kylo's falling for this plan, hook, line, and sinker, Palps is actually using Kylo and Rey for something else entirely. Shocked? Of course not. A man with many plans he is. But what exactly is Palps using Ben Solo for? Well, the big twist is he needs both Kylo and Rey in the same room together to create a dyad. It's the only way to channel the Force. Once they're together, Palpatine siphons the Force through them and rejuvenates himself to what he looked like in Return of the Jedi. So if they're going to make him look like he did in Return of the Jedi, which, I guess they're going to rejuvenate him in somewhat, I think there's rumors that the Matt Smith's character, or Matt Smith, the actor from Doctor Who, he's playing like a younger Palpatine. I don't think that's going to end up being true because we already kind of know, based on leaks, that they're doing a facial rejuvenation to Luke and Leia. There's apparently that opening scene where they're fighting, where Luke and Leia are training with lightsabers, and they look like they did in Return of the Jedi. So it doesn't make sense when they have Ian McDiarmid on set not to do the same thing with him. Why would they need another actor to play a younger version of him when they're already using, CGI to make Luke and Leia look younger. I just thought I'd add that in there. Okay, so it says once they're together, he'll siphon their powers, and it's only then that he'll have enough power to destroy the entire, or half of the Resistance fleet. The funny thing is, Kylo won't even see it coming, because Kylo is not a very smart villain. We've already established this. Obviously, Kylo craves power. He wouldn't have tried to go looking for the source of Snoke's power otherwise. Palpatine's ultimate plan is... Okay, so basically, that's the gist of the story. I think there was another article here, that goes in line with that. That talks about his awesome new power, Palpatine's new power, and he's going to, once he absorbs their Force energy, he will have enough energy to unleash a flurry of lightning into space to destroy Resistance ships in orbit. This is something he didn't even have enough power to do in his heyday. Now he's going to have, I guess with Rey and Kylo's combined energy, he'll have enough power to force lightning the entire galaxy, or space. And I mean, he's going to be his own personal Death Star. So, that's the leak here. Now, I think there's already a problem with the fact that Kylo is again going after something, of the past. I mean, in Episode 8, he was all about kill the past if we must, let's start over. That's what he literally told Rey. That's how he was trying to get her on his side. Kill the past if you must, start over, forget everything. And now, in this movie, he's going right back to I'm going to, falling in line with Palpatine? I mean, why wouldn't he just kill, if he's half dead, why don't we just kill the guy? He killed Snoke, no problem. He doesn't think that this is going to be the same thing. I mean, isn't he Supreme Leader now? Why does he need anyone? He should just kill Palpatine and be over with it. He's all about forgetting the past, right? Well, that was Ryan's version of Kylo. But now JJ's back, and JJ's going to revitalize the idea that, that Kylo's obsessed with Vader, obsessed with the past, and of course Palpatine was Vader's master, so why not? Oh my gosh, this is like his ultimate goal, right? But it's again two different visions here. Two different sides of the coin. They were not in sync at all. And this brings up a quote, a tweet from Pablo Hidalgo, and this just came a couple days ago. So this isn't something that was from last year when the whole, this whole thing was breaking. He said, as an executive producer, JJ read the script and the early cut of the film and liked what he saw. He said as much, but whatever, internet will internet. And he's referring, of course, to Episode 8. JJ read the script and saw an early cut of the film and liked what he saw. If that has any truth to it, which I'm not denying that JJ obviously had some hand in it. I mean, he was involved in some way. I think it was very minimal. And I think whatever he saw in the film, he's just going to toe the company line and say, yeah, it's great. Yeah, good job. JJ's, I like JJ, but he's a company boy. He's fallen in line with Kathleen Kennedy's view for this trilogy, or her lack of view for this trilogy, and he's just going along with it. It's clear he was not happy with what happened with Episode 8, and he says as much here. This is a quote from JJ a few months ago. He said, I had some gut instincts about where the story would have gone, but without getting into the weeds on Episode 8, that was a story that Ryan wrote and was telling based on 7 before we met. So he was taking the thing in another direction. So we also had to respond to Episode 8. So our movie was not just following what we had started, but it was following what we had started and then had been advanced by someone else. So there was that. And finally, it was resolving 9 movies. While there are some threads of larger ideas and some big picture things that had been conceived decades ago, and a lot of ideas that Lords Kazan and I had when we were doing Episode 7, the lack of absolute inevitability, the lack of a complete structure for this thing, given the way it was being run, was an enormous challenge. As being politically, as staying on the right side of the fence as he can stay, I think that quote really says it all. Because he says right there, Ryan was telling his story before we met. He took it in a different direction, and he says the lack of complete structure for this thing, given the way it was being run, was an enormous challenge. I think that's a little dig at Kathleen Kennedy for not, structuring this thing properly, and also for Rian Johnson for taking this thing in a different direction. Like he just threw out all of JJ's ideas from Episode 7. So I don't agree with Pablo Hidalgo's tweet there. I don't think that JJ was happy with what he saw. If he did say that, I'm sure he did say that, but there's no way that's the truth, and no one's buying that. Come on, just based on what JJ said right here in his own words, and you just look at all the plot points that are being leaked if they're true from Episode 9. He's retconning everything. He's going back to his Episode 7, continuing that story, and trying not to deal with Episode 8 as much as he can, and that should say it all. Actions speak louder than words. So anyway, guys, what do you think of the leak? What do you think of what Pablo said? What do you think of JJ's reaction to it? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching the video, and share it, subscribe, like. I'm on Twitter at FinalDeathStar1, also on Instagram, so you can find me there. Until next time, lock the doors, and hope they don't have blasters.